The most commonly asked questions in recruitment is, what is it that marks out a really great recruitment consultant from one that's okay? Here's the answer. My name's Stephen Long, and I've spent the last 20 years training recruitment consultants, building and selling my own firm and running my own recruiter desk. And along that way, I've spent years interviewing and researching and doing all my testing and checking out what it is that marks out a really great recruitment consultant from the average, from what marks out the best from the rest, to be a bit of a cliche about it. The list I'm going to give you today consists of 13 elements, all of which can be learned, some of which you're innately stronger at than others, but you can get better at every single one of them. So let me give you the master list of the traits of really successful recruitment consultants. Number one, and the most important, bar none, is the ability to warm up cold leads. Whether those leads are inbound, whether it's former customers, whether it's getting referrals from former candidates, whether it's cold calling, whatever it may be, the ability to take a conversation or a relationship with somebody from cold to warm to ongoing business is a skill that can be learned, and it is the most important one if you're going to consistently grow your revenue and your desk. Alongside that, these days, second skill that's important is the ability to use a video conference effectively. It still amazes me the number of hours that we all spend on video conferences each day, and pretty much every call I've ever been on, there's somebody who's going, oh, I don't know how to mute it, I don't know, oh, hang on, I want to put a slide up, I don't know how. Don't be that person. Work out how to use the technology, work out how to use lighting, natural lighting, microphones, to make sure that you can put your message across in the most convincing and credible and authoritative way that the technology will allow. It takes a bit of research, it takes a bit of practice, it's absolutely worth the time. Third one is authenticity. Hang on, Stephen, I can't learn to be authentic. You can't fake authenticity. Well, there's an old line about the idea that the key to success in politics is sincerity, because once you can fake that, you've got it made. Well, authenticity isn't quite like that. You can learn to be more authentic. The key to it is learning to get out of your own way and stop being the problem. A lot of people have this self-talk. They're like, oh, I'm really conscious about what people think of me. Back to the video conferencing example. I want them to think this, I want them to think that. Yeah, but no. You do want to be planning the reaction you want from people. You do want to be conscious of the emotions and the drives that you're creating in other people in terms of motivating them, convincing them, and those sorts of obvious things. But authenticity mainly consists of shutting the hell up and getting out of your own way. Stop trying to be a recruitment consultant. Stop trying to be authoritative. Stop trying to be anything but you. Because if you win business by not being you, you'll probably lose business by being you, if that makes any sense at all. It does in my head. Authenticity. I'm not suggesting that you fake it till you make it. I'm saying stop faking it and you'll make it. The fourth is a mindset issue. Some people see life, and particularly business, as a zero-sum game. If somebody wins, somebody loses. Or alternatively, as a friend of mine used to say, it's not enough that I win, it's more important that somebody else loses. A growth mindset is the opposite. A growth mindset says, okay, there's enough business in the world, there's enough opportunity in the world for everyone. I just have to do the right things in the right way with the right people, and I will get my share of what's available to everybody. I don't have to do somebody else down. I don't have to ride roughshod over somebody. I just have to do the right stuff in the right way with the right people, and I'll get the results. And that growth mindset is very different to being naive or just going, the world is a wonderful place. Sometimes the world isn't a wonderful place. Sometimes the world sucks. I did a social post a while ago that sort of went semi-viral, and it was talking about the difference between a positive mental attitude and positive action. Positive mental attitude is looking out in your garden and going, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. There's weeds. Positive action is looking out into your garden and going, oh, there's weeds. Pulling them up by the root, poisoning them, burning them, then looking at your garden and going, oh, look, there's no weeds. A growth mindset requires action to turn it into reality. But without that growth mindset, you'll never take the action. So the mindset comes first. This next one I'm personally very lucky with, because quite often you'll get this thing in business where somebody says, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings, which means they're about to hurt your feelings, or I don't want to be rude, which obviously means they're about to be rude. Personally, I'm enormously lucky in that I can't be insulted. You can't hurt my feelings. I'm just born with zero ability to take anything that comes like that seriously. So the most important thing that I'm about to teach you with this is not to take things personally. It's a game. You win a client, hooray! You lose a client, hooray! Neither of those things say anything about your worth as a human being. I know some terrible, horrible people who've been massive successes. I know some wonderful people who've been worn down by the fact that they've never achieved the success they probably deserved. Don't take it personally. If you win, don't take it personally. If you lose, don't take it personally. If you get criticised, don't take it personally. If you get praised, don't take it personally. Well, all right, relish it for a couple of minutes, but then move on. Don't take it personally. If you get together with your friends for a night out, do you get together, you sit down, or you stand up, drink in hand, and you exchange facts? Well, no, that's a pretty boring evening. If you're trying to teach your children how to be a decent human being, do you just sit them down on your knee and say, darling, do this, don't do that? No, you don't. You might, for example, tell them the story of the boy who cried wolf. Or you might, do Little Red Riding Hood, or you might, stories. Brothers Grimm, by the way, oh my word, the original Brothers Grimm stories, oh my God, oh, those are nightmare food. Anyway, human beings communicate with other human beings through stories, through metaphor, through examples. Stories are how we have always learned things, from sitting in a cave by the fire, telling each other stories about hunting or what plants are good and which berries cause tummy problems. Telling each other stories is how we have always communicated with other people, until we got so flipping clever. And then we forgot about the power of story and metaphor. But story selling, for want of a better term, is massively powerful. Worthwhile looking at one of my previous videos about how to pitch, because that is fundamentally based around case studies, examples, stories. Learn to be a storyteller. I'm not suggesting you have to be the world's greatest raconteur. I'm not suggesting you have to be able to hold an audience of 5,000 people together just with a joke. But you do have to have the ability to talk about a case study or an example, or explain how you do things by giving the example of how you work for other people. That kind of story selling makes people stand out from the crowd. People who simply exchange facts are pretty dull. People who exchange stories, well, think about it for a second. Who are the most highly paid individuals, pretty much the most highly paid individuals in our society? Entertainers. They're storytellers. Oh yeah, but there's no billionaire actors. Well, actually, there kind of are. If you think about Ryan Reynolds as an example, he's a billionaire actor, but his billions haven't come from acting, they've come from his businesses, and he's sold his businesses by storytelling his businesses. Well, Elon Musk isn't a storyteller, really? Have you watched Elon Musk? It's all about selling the story. Stories sell. Be a story seller. The next one's a bit more technical, but it's crucial. It's the ability to qualify leads. And I do not just mean qualifying leads in. I also mean qualifying leads out, because being very, very clear about who you don't want to work with, about who you will not deal with, will save you so much time and heartache and give you the ability to spend your time and energy on people who really do deserve your time and energy, including you. Next success factor is preparation and coachability. What do I mean by that? Well, the best recruitment consultants go into conversations, they go into their days, they go into their weeks, they go into their quarters prepared. They've done the homework, they've done the groundwork, they've done the deeply, deeply boring stuff of keeping the database up to date and filling in the diary and the meeting notes and all of that stuff, so that they can get on with the stuff that only they can do, which is the interpersonal human stuff. And why have I brought the ability to be coached into this section? Because part of being properly prepared is doing things in different ways. Because if you've only got one approach, you'll only be able to do one kind of business with one kind of person. But if you have the ability to be coached, you can learn how to do different things in different ways with different people. So by coaching, I don't just mean a formal coaching session, or even working with someone like me on one of our real life coaching programs. What I'm talking about is the ability to learn, either from the people around you, from YouTube, from wherever, but the ability to learn and take those lessons and apply them. Because you're only coachable if you learn and apply. And most people won't do that. What about you? Next one is one of the big ones. It's the ability to identify, actually uncover people's problems. Clients, candidates, they're not buying a recruitment service. What they're buying is a solution to their problems. If it's a candidate, they're in a job they don't like, or they're ambitious and they want a bigger, better one. With your clients, they've got a problem, they're losing revenue, they're incurring costs, they're losing time and trouble, they're experiencing stress, whatever. Identify their problems so that you can solve them. Because the person who can solve the most problems in the best ways for the biggest number of people wins. If you can solve big problems, you get the big fees. This is one of my big bugbears. The ability to create and stick to a sales process. Let me give you an example that might seem a little bit off topic, but I was running a training course about 5-6 years ago, and we got 600-700 people in a conference room for 3 days together. And the part of the knack of running that sort of event is to make it look incredibly spontaneous. And the way to make it spontaneous is to have everything really, really planned and very well prepared. So we were running the event, and somebody asked a question that it was completely out of left field, but it was absolutely relevant for the audience and the people we were with. And what I could have done is go, oh, well, I'll come back to that later, and try and ignored it and waited for it to go away. What I did instead was go, okay, and we talked about it, and we had a little session. I say little, it was a massive discussion for about an hour and a half, probably the most useful hour and a half that came out of that entire 3 days, because it was driven by everybody else, and it was making what we'd just been talking about directly relevant for everybody. It made it hugely tangible, and I was fine with that because I'd got my framework. The moment we finished that conversation, I could just drop straight back into what we were doing and carry on. Now, obviously, I incorporated some of the conversation, and some of the conversation preempted stuff that we were going to be doing anyway, but I was able to do that because I got that framework in place. Equally, I've had the situation where I've been involved in a deal, and you've probably had this as well, and you're involved in a deal, and you get to this point, you go, oh, wow, and now what? And that blind spot means that you haven't got a sales process nailed. Your process doesn't tell you everything you must do. It doesn't define everything. A process is the steps that you have to take in order for a deal to occur. What's the absolutely critical steps and in what sequence? That's the framework for your sales process. Within that, you can then have sub-steps, things that are nice to haves or things that are useful. But the bare minimum you have to have is that steps. Now, many years ago, there was a guy called Tony Byrne, and Tony Byrne used to do the VHS training courses about the 30 steps to the executive search process. Great stuff at the time. Big red braces, big 1980s glasses. You can probably still find them around somewhere. They're probably on YouTube. In fact, they are on YouTube. Now, 30 steps, yeah, a lot of it was very, very granular. I issue your invoice, but it was a framework. And I know a lot of people who became very wealthy and very successful by following Tony Byrne's process. I'm not recommending it, by the way. It's been superseded by a lot of very different, very, very much more effective methodologies. But having a process, whether it's the process that comes from your firm, whether it's one you develop yourself, having those key steps in place and knowing how to follow them is absolutely critical if you're going to be successful consistently. Because flair is nice, but consistency counts. These days, you've got to develop a personal brand. I could fluff that around. You've got to. There's no choice. Whether it's simply your LinkedIn profile or whether you're active on Instagram, Facebook, whether you're doing lives, whether you're on Snapchat or TikTok or whatever it may be, you have a personal brand, whether you like it or not. You are either the person that just sort of lurks, never posts anything, but occasionally pops up and comments on somebody's stuff, or you're the person that just goes, I've got this vacancy, I've got this vacancy, I've got this vacancy, I've got this vacancy, or you're the person that they can't find, which is a bit weird. And if you watch detective programs on TV, anybody without any kind of social media profile, you're automatically dangerous. You become Jack Reacher. There's no social media profile. Oh my God, there must be a psychopath. You have a personal brand. Everybody has a personal brand. And to anybody that says personal brands don't matter, I would refer you to Elon Musk. Elon Musk can add or subtract billions of dollars to the worth of a company with a tweet. There are lots of people who are very successful business people based primarily on their branding on social media. Gymshark, for example, would not be the success it is without the personal brand of the founder and chairman of that company, who, a wonderful, just brilliant story. He dropped out of Aston University where he was studying business in his second year to set up Gymshark. Exactly 10 years later, he went back to Aston University to receive his honorary doctorate in business. Isn't that, hairs on the back of the neck. Love that story. I only know that because of his personal brand and the message he's putting out there. 2 rules I'll give you. I'm not going to get into personal branding, it's too big a topic for this video, but 2 rules I would give you. The first one is, don't be dull. Don't just go job post, job post, job post, job post, job post. Very nearly said jodhpurs then, that would be a whole different thing. That's the first one. Actually put some personality out there. And secondly, don't think you have to be a Love Island celebrity. You can be hugely influential without being that kind of influencer. Example, Gary Vee. Gary Vee is, I don't think, anybody's idea of a sex symbol. Frank Kern in marketing, nobody's idea of a sex symbol, but very influential, very powerful in the social media space. build your personal brand consciously instead of letting it just happen. I'll make no bones about it. The next one is one of the ones I find most difficult. It's being human. It's just having that human touch. It's being willing to take your foot off the gas and just engage with somebody as a person. The most successful recruitment consultants have the ability to treat human beings like human beings instead of baked beans. Learn to trust your senses a little bit. When somebody's having a bad day, when somebody's quite blatantly having a really sucky morning, don't launch into your candidate pitch. Bear with it. Go back 3 or 4 hours later. Go back the following day. Be human. Learn the human touch. And the last, but by no means the least, is tact. Let me give you a little rule of thumb. If you ever find yourself thinking, should I say this? The answer is no, you shouldn't. There is more power in what you don't say than what you do. If you don't say something at the time, because it might hurt somebody's feelings, you can always go back and say it later. If you say it, you can't undo that. You can't unring that bell. Learn some tact and combine that with a bit of humanity. And if you've then got the other 11 success factors playing as well, you will go far. If you want to know more about the actual techniques of sales as they apply to being a recruitment consultant, have a look down in the description and you'll find a link in there to a free ebook I've written called the 20 Most Essential Sales Skills for Recruitment Professionals. How's that for factual branding? Completely free, there's no upsell. When you download it, you're not invited to spend 195 quid on something. It's free. Help yourself. Copy it as often as you want. Send it out to all your colleagues, whenever you like. All you need to do is give me your email address and I'll send it straight to you. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button and remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time there's a new video coming through. And last of all, if this video has been useful and generated some questions for you, this doesn't have to be the end of it. It's not a one-way process. If you want to ask a question or make a comment, stick it down in the comments below and I'll reply directly. I'll reply to every comment that I get. Alternatively, if you've got something that's a bit more personal, confidential, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or on Instagram and you can DM me there, and again I'll get back to you as quickly as I can do, though I would ask for a little bit of patience there because obviously there's a lot of incoming on those. Hope this has been useful for you. See you again next time.